I don't do any "this was bad" videos, and this is why. My name's Gary Dean. I'm the Blue Hat Bucket List Traveler. I did 34 cruises in 43 months, and in that time frame, I also drove all 48 states and 10 provinces. Did a lot of travel in 3.5 years. So why I don't do the negative reviews or I took a 1-star, stayed in a 1-star hotel or got on a 1-star cruise ship, any of that stuff. First off, I don't want to. I barely want to stay in a 3-star hotel. Half yet one that's less. I don't want to be on a crappy cruise line. I don't want to fly on a terrible airline. Personally, for me, that's just not a thing. I'm not a knapsack, rough it kind of guy. I traveled for work for years, flying back and forth North America to Asia and back, and I just lost the glamour, got lost a long time ago on any of that, so I'm not going to rough it. Met a lot of people on the cruise ship, and they're like, when you get down to a duffel bag, then you know you've made it. And I thought, oh, well, I guess I'm not going to make it because I got 2 big suitcases. Nah, usually just one, but I do got a big one. I find just a shaving kit can be a lot of stuff. The other reason I don't do any of that, the negative reviews, say about the ship. What do you think of the Epic? Or what do you think of this ship? Or what do you think of, Air Transat Airlines? Or, what do you think of this hotel? To me, it's all, I heard a long time ago, opinions are like belly buttons. Everybody's got one, right? I think everybody's doing the best they can. I think if you go to a 2-star hotel, then you get what you paid for and don't complain. What did you expect? I don't watch those videos even. I'm shocked sometimes. I see I took a 1-star cruise and 1 million views. I thought, what? I have zero interest in watching any of that. Show me what, like a mid to upper cruise, and then I'm more interested. What I like, maybe you don't like, What point is it? I didn't like this ship because it didn't have a go-kart track, and what do you care if you don't like go-karts? Or this one didn't have enough swimming pools, and what do you care if or water slides or, that kind of thing. We all have what we like, so you can definitely, just go to the company's website and scope out the ship, right? I've tried to watch the ship review videos, and they're just seems way too boring for me to figure out what's what. I just get on. It's a cruise ship. It's say I book NCL. I know it's going to be NCL. If I book Celebrity, I expect a little bit more because it's Celebrity, and it is a little bit more, money wise, and I think it's been a better experience. I think Celebrity treats me better. The captain would say, this is a premium cruise line and you've paid premium prices. We're going to look after you, and felt good. NCL has, been kind of, you've paid what you've paid, and this is what you got, and if you don't like it, then the complaint line forms to the left. Honestly, that's how I found it to be, and I don't complain. I paid what I paid. They said they were going to get me there, and they did, and they got me back. So I got what I paid for. And was there some hiccups? I can't think of many cruises over 7 to 10 to 20 days that there hasn't been. Something goes wrong at a port, or, they're late, or the weather, or, I find that 90% of it or higher is out of their control. They're dealing with different ports in different countries and different rules. They're doing the best they can. If they said the tours were going to start at 9, they don't want them to start at 10. That throws a wrench in the whole system, and if it happens, they're not happy about it either. And I'm not gonna, do a bad review about it. The only time I ever got upset one time was about the internet. I didn't really understand. Once I went to the internet desk to complain, like, what's up with the internet? You're paying $35-40 per day. What's up? And they're like, well, there's no satellite here. Oh, okay, well, that's a good answer. They're like, if there's none for 24 hours, we give you your day off, but, we're leaving in 2 hours, and once we get out of here, we're going to be back. The satellite will find our ship again, and you're going to have good internet again. And okay, well, then, no internet. That's that. I don't need to do a bad review about the internet. That just happens to be what it was, right? How it is. And I guess... Hope it comes across. I'm just generally a happy guy, easygoing guy. I'm not type A. I'm not demanding. I've traveled the world. I've seen it all. I've got zero. When I first started, I got to say, I used to be one of those guys that, hurry into the bus and And then I find out I'm with all the pushy, got to get there people, and doesn't turn out to be fun. So I just stay in the middle of the pack. Stay in the middle. I don't want to be in the back, but I don't want to be in the front either. I just want to be in the middle. Take it easy. Be relaxed. Remind yourself, and I've got to remind myself always, I'm on holiday. So when I'm on holiday, it means be relaxed. I'm making these videos and I'm doing this stuff, but I used to work in accounting, and the guy I worked for said, we're not heart surgeons. Nobody's going to die today, right? We're accountants. Yeah, true, right? Like, let's relax. And so that's how I do my trips. I don't push to the front. I don't want to get left behind, so I just stay in the middle. And I want to be grateful. I want to, I get to do this. My worst day traveling, it would be somebody's dream, right? I need to remember that, and that I get to do it is something I dreamt about when I was younger. Geez, I hope one day I could see Morocco, or I could go to Bora Bora or Hawaii, and then get to go there. Just give my head a shake and be grateful that my life worked out. My health was good enough, my finances were good enough, and I got to do it. Be grateful, have some gratitude, right? That helps me stay positive about the whole experience. What happens a lot when you travel is, the question will start with, so what do you think of NCL? Well, I don't know. I'm Diamond. I do them a lot, so I think it's okay for what I pay. And just about always they will say, oh, we usually do Celebrity or something. And I'll say, yeah, that's different. It's not NCL. That's like, you're at a Motel 6 and you're asking people, what do they think of Hilton? Well, they don't. They're at Motel 6. And if you like Hilton, then you shouldn't be at Motel 6. I just always think, what are you doing here then? You save money is why I guess they went. Sometimes you go cruising, especially you go because it's going to a place you want to go to, and the other cruise line you prefer doesn't go there. So, that's a trade-off. You have to accept that. But yeah, you get what you pay for in all these things. And so I'm not gonna, oh, this itinerary is crap, or this cruise line is crap, or this ship is crap. The other thing with the ships is they're always remodeling them. They're always going into dry dock and getting refurbished. So if you happen to be, I just got off the Jade, and it was literally going to do one more week in Mexico, and then it was going to go into dry dock for a 2-week refitting. And when it comes out of there, it'll look like a brand new hotel, right? So, people were like, whoa, it's kind of run down. Well, yeah, that's why it's going into dry dock. They know that. They're going to fix it all up, right? That's why they brought it over here. We got a good deal. We came across half the world in that thing. Came out of Miami, went down through the Panama Canal, down into Peru. Got to see places that ships very rarely ever go. And then it came back up through Central America, saw a whole bunch of Central America and Mexico, and then come up and got off in San Diego, and then it's going to do just a little bit of Mexico, and then boom, it's going to go in and get redone. And so the next people on there will be like, wow, this ship is amazing. So, that's your the way it is. The timing can be. And then sometimes, yeah, there's some weird ships like the Epic. It's got the sink in the middle of the room, and that's Google says, well, that's kind of the way the French would do it and stuff like that. So there's reasons that things were done certain ways, and then you find out they never made. That's a one of one. They never made 4 more Epics. So yeah, they figured out too that wasn't a great deal, I guess, but they got all that money tied up in that thing, and they're gonna run with it. Worked for me. I did, I don't know, probably total 50 days over 3 or 4 different cruises, because the Epic goes a lot of places. It's a big ship and takes a lot of people. So if it's a popular cruise route, NCL will pull the Epic out and it'll do those runs. And the buffet, the food was okay, and the crew, I can say on every cruise ship, the crew is the highlight pretty much. These people are far from home. They're not making a lot of money. They're making more than they would at home, but still not a lot of money. And they're working long days every day for months at a time, and they still say good morning and have a great day, and they smile a lot. So let's just take take our hat off to them. They do a lot of recognition now on the cruises. On the final night of the cruise, they'll have a thing in the theater, and you can, and they get up there and you can clap and say, way to go. And I do, I want to pack, I got other things to do, but I go and say, hey, thank you, have some gratitude, right? I say thanks for that ship wouldn't move without them. So glad they did it, glad I did it, and glad I don't say bad things about ships or cruise lines or airlines or hotels or anything. I find one that works and I keep using it until it doesn't, and then I find a different one. So yeah, if you want the bad reviews and all that stuff, you're not going to find it on this channel. I'm not going to do 1-star reviews and that stuff is not going to happen. Hope you're doing good. Cheers.